This video will talk about my progress so far developing my game Forms as well as ChatGPT and the potential that it has when it comes to helping me make the ultimate game. Hey everyone, my name is Steven, the main man behind Steve Game Studios, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing because here on Steve Game Studios I develop this game together with you. It's community driven, so you can interact. I will implement your ideas and we will make a great game together. That's why it's so important to subscribe, like and share this video, because in this way we can grow together and make the best game ever. Now without further talking, let's talk about the current situation of Forms and ChatGPT. So to get going with this devlog, I will just make a quick recap if you haven't seen the video where I presented the game concept of Forms. Obviously it's linked here in the E, you can click it right now for the full concept, but to just give you a quick summary of what Forms actually is. It's an endless runner in 3D and you have a character that changes dynamically. So you basically not only have one endless runner, you have 5 different types of endless runners and 5 different types of characters, and that really makes special the game because the switch can happen at any moment, and that really takes the boring factor out of the endless runners, because after some time when you play an endless runner, like for example Subway Surfers, you get really used to the map and it really gets boring after some time. This is just a first idea. Of course here on Steve Game Studios I really try to make the development also dynamic and to interact with you guys, so if you have any suggestions how to make the concept and the actual game even better, then just type into the comments. Let's come now to the things that I did after I released the video. And of course what I did was just to create a project in Unity. It was a really special feeling to look again into an empty project, and I could really feel the excitement in this moment. After that I had to decide what kind of endless runner I want to develop first, and I decided to make the one with the ball as a character, so I just created a new ball in Unity. And after I did this I had to quickly decide what kind of art style I want to take into the game, and I decided for low poly. And this is also a good fit for me personally, because in the past I've bought some different packages of 3D models that were on sale at the time, and so this was also a reason why I chose for low poly. But then came the boring part, because in order to actually use the 3D models I firstly had to gather those models that I bought at different times, put them into folders, and what I also had to do was that I had to download pictures from the internet from the models and put them into different folders, so in that way I can really easily and fast pick some models that I need for the game. But of course the process of developing the system was really long, really boring. It took me like 3 hours, and so this is really a learning that I got there, that I always have to sort the things from the beginning to the end. After this boring phase of development I finally could start with the coding of the game, and I decided here that the first thing that I want to code is the movement of the ball. And what I also used here was ChatGPT, because in general I really think that AI has a lot of potential in game development. For me, who is not only this passion and this project here on this YouTube channel but also studies e-commerce on the side, I really have limited time and I really need to develop the game as fast as possible, use every second, and that's why I thought that I really could use something like ChatGPT. And the first experiences were also pretty good. So for example, the basic version of the movement I developed in less than an hour with ChatGPT. I just gave the AI a prompt and described what kind of movement I want, and after some tweaking here and there I really had a great result. You can also see it on the screen right now how it looked at that time. After I developed this I had my first success, and with this I could use the time for something else, so that was also around the time where I had my exams and where I really had to focus on those. After my exams I wanted to move on with the project, and the next phase was then to actually also build some curves into the project. So what I wanted to achieve is I wanted to have a movement and a generation that not only goes forward, but at certain moments the racetrack can go left or it can go right. So this was the basic idea. And if you wonder in the background where I got the racetrack, it's an asset on Unity. I will show you now on the screen and also leave the link in the description. It's a really great asset, and if you make something like an endless runner or maybe a race game, then I would recommend you to checking that asset out. Moving on now with the devlog, I can say that after this thinking of the idea, the first problems arrive, because in practical the system is really hard to build. When you have a ball, in principle it moves forward automatically, but when you change the direction to left, the definition of forward changes, so it's not easy to develop that. And for me it was especially not easy to develop that, because one big mistake that I did while developing the game with ChatGPT was to create the entire script with with the AI and don't look over it. Because in that way, I really couldn't change anything about the script because I didn't understand what part is responsible for which aspect in the movement. So this is also the reason why I then had my first breakdown in the development phase, and I really had to delete the entire script and build it from scratch step by step. And I did that also with the help of a YouTube tutorial where I really learned about movement and how you can actually move a ball. This is also a really interesting fact. Although moving a ball sounds really simple in Unity, it's not. There are different methods, like for example move toward, lerp, or the version that I chose was to use the rigid body and then to add force to the ball. And after this first tough phase and making this script step by step, I also started using the AI more, and the process went really fast on. And so that's why I also give you here my 3 tips on developing games with ChatGPT. The first tip is to make it step by step. Don't make the mistake and give the AI a really long prompt with the whole game that you have in mind, because in this case it will just give you a really long script. In most cases it won't even make everything you wanted, and then if you want to change something in the future, it will be really hard for you to understand what each code aspect do. The second tip, use AI step by step. So really think in your mind, what is the first thing that you want the object to make. So in my case, for example, the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted that the ball keeps moving forward, and so that's what I gave into the AI. And of course it wasn't much code, so I really could understand the code easier and faster. And then the third is to get a little bit knowledge in prompt engineering. So things like act as a coding expert or explain the code to me like I would be a 5-year-old. Those phrases sound goofy, but in the end it can really help you get the best results and to move with your project faster on. So after we have clarified the situation with ChatGPT, I also want now to show you the final product before finishing the video. Because after I actually finished the movement, the next step was then to focus more on procedural generation, and it was also something that I really achieved great also with the help of ChatGPT. And now you can also see in the background that we have this procedural generation, so the endless runner can really go infinite, but I also have the system of deleting the objects that are not being used anymore. So in that way I can also target with the game older PCs, for example. I know it isn't much, but this is everything I have for now. I hope you still like it, but if not, I hope I can give you some trust in me because I already have the next steps planned out. So the first step is obviously this whole video and to interact with you guys, because I really need your feedback. And at the end, this is the concept of Steve Game Studios, that we make games together and that I also reward you for sharing your opinions and your ideas. So for example, one big thing that I want to know from you is if you like the idea of the movement that I have in mind, or do you want more of the basic movement that we know from games like Subway Surfers. And also the question would be if you like the idea of the ball going left or right. This would mean a lot to me if you comment under the video and really interact here on this level, because in that way we can make a really special game together. But of course this is not the only step. I have written the most exams of my study agreement and I can really focus now on game development, and I'm really looking forward to release the next game devlog in just a little bit more than a month. In the meanwhile, you can also follow on my other platforms like Threads or Twitter, because there I post on a daily basis updates to my game. But for now, this is it, guys. What do you think of the game? I really hope you like it, and I also hope that you like this video. If yes, then leave a like, leave a comment, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss further devlogs and updates on game development. I wish you all a great day, and remember, together we game.